After Tesla chief Elon Musk clashed with Germany and its Chancellor Olaf Scholz earlier this week, he's going after United Kingdom Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Next, Musk has launched a fresh attack against Mr. Starmer, accusing the UK leader of failing to bring rape gangs to justice when he was the head of prosecution service more than 10 years ago. Now, the tech billionaire has also increasingly criticized the British government in recent months, comparing it to Stalin's Russia, endorsing the Reform UK party. He has also backed Germany's far-right AfD party last month. In his latest attack, Musk has called for fresh polls in the country, even advocated for the release of far-right activist Tommy Robinson, who was jailed for 18 months for contempt of court last October. Elon Musk has claimed that very few businesses want to invest in Britain under the Labour Party, a claim that Starmer has refuted. To discuss this further, we have with us Nicholas Nugent, who is a British journalist, and he was former BBC editor from London. We also have Professor David Cay Johnston, Professor of Public Policy, Rochester Institute of Technology. Thank you, both of you, for joining me on this broadcast. To you, Nicholas, first, how do you see Elon Musk's recent and also statements that he has given out in the past few months against the UK Prime Minister? Do you see this as something that he does on a regular basis? And what do you think are the important political undertones to these statements?
Well, I think perhaps the risk that you're suggesting to British democracy is rather overrated. I mean, Elon Musk is as entitled as anybody to express his opinion and indeed to criticise the British Prime Minister. But it bemuses us as British citizens, the topics he's choosing, because, I mean, I could criticise the Prime Minister for his policy on illegal migration that doesn't seem to have stopped the small boats arriving, or indeed people are criticising him for having professed pro-economic growth, investment in industry, and it's not really working very well. These are the issues of the moment. Instead of which, Elon Musk has picked on a scandal, indeed, of many years ago, and suggested that Keir Starmer was responsible for not bringing the appropriate people in this sex scandal to justice, or indeed not now backing an inquiry into it. So it seems to us a little bit obscure at the moment that he's taking this position. It may be rather more to the point that he is rumoured to be wanting to back one of the British political parties, Reform, with a vast sum, if the rumours are to be believed. But there are already checks and balances in position in British democracy that prevent foreigners from investing sums like that. So I don't really see that as a threat. I think perhaps you might have had a little bit more concern about what Elon Musk has been saying about the German elections, because there they are in an electoral process.
Right.
And there is not unnaturally some concern that Elon Musk seems to be interfering in the electoral process. I think it's a long, long way from interfering in British democracy. He may indeed have economic or commercial motives for making this point. Clearly, he's not a fan of the British Prime Minister, but I do rather question the factors he's chosen to criticise him.
Right. Professor Johnston, are business interests in some ways also driving Elon Musk's remarks, given that Musk has never really commented about China, and his censorship intervention has also been in some ways quite selective?
Well, I would step back a little bit. I think Musk is playing a game here that's much bigger than his particular interests in any one country. Elon Musk, who was a prince of apartheid South Africa, clearly has no regard for democracy. And if you look at the people he supported, Donald Trump in the United States, the far-right German party, his association with Nigel Farage, and his attacks on the current prime minister, in all of those, I think what he's trying to do is undermine democracy so that people like him can operate as they choose without being accountable to a democratic government or to safety regulatory systems or accountable for the government money they get. A great deal of Elon Musk's fortune derives from contracts with the US federal government, billions and billions of dollars in contracts.
Right. Also, Nicholas, will this impact the Trump-Starmer relationship? Because considering that Elon Musk is not just a billionaire anymore, he's also someone seen as part of the Trump government.
Well, indeed. And I think that's why perhaps Starmer and his advisors are being a bit cautious in responding, because they know that he is a trusted aide of the incoming president. And Keir Starmer clearly wants to get off to a good start with incoming President Trump. So there's not likely to be a sort of backlash. But I mean, I like Professor Johnston's interpretation that this is a broader attack on democracy than a specific attack on the British Prime Minister. Yes, indeed, he works according to different rules. And what his long-term objective is, who can tell, whether it's commercial or whether it is indeed political, as a trusted member of the incoming administration. But really, it's not causing big shakes here in Britain. Let me put it that way. We're interested, we're intrigued, but I don't think it's going to rattle the cage of the present Prime Minister in a way that perhaps some other commentators might do by choosing more contemporary issues to attack the new Labour administration here.
Professor Johnston, we've seen Starmer not really respond using very sharp words, especially to Elon Musk. Do you think that also reflects a sense of caution? Are they waiting and watching? How do you see that?
Starmer is a long experienced politician, and he's not taking the bait. It's very easy when someone who's a disruptor like Elon Musk goes after you to respond. And I think Starmer is very wise to sort of hold his powder dry and minimize what he has to say. And by the way, capital investment in Britain has gone up since last July 1st when he became prime minister, contrary to Musk's assertion that nobody wants to invest there. So I think you're going to see Starmer, and one would hope other experienced politicians around the world, not get drawn into Elon Musk's games.
Right. Nicholas, also, how ethical do you think is it for Elon Musk to boost these far-right voices across countries on X?
Well, I'm not going to criticize Elon Musk. I mean, he's a free individual. He may be the richest man in the world, but I mean, he can say what he likes. I don't feel either personally or on behalf of my nation to feel threatened because he's exercising his right to free speech. But I do agree with Professor Johnston's comment that Starmer's going to be very cautious in reacting to that, in taking the bait. He's not going to take the bait. Much more important to him is to get off to a good start with the incoming American president. So let Elon Musk have his say. I don't think anyone's going to feel threatened by it. We're just interested to see the game he's playing. I think even the Germans are not feeling threatened by it because, yes, he can state his opinion, but I don't think that's going to change the course of democracy in Germany in the short term at any rate. So let's just see what happens. Democracy has its own inbuilt strength, and I think it's going to hold together in Germany and indeed in the longer term in Britain.
Johnston, the same question to you, sir. What do you think of Musk, boosting far-right voices on X? Do you think that this is ethical?
Well, first of all, it's his business that he owns lock, stock, and barrel, and he can do what he wants with it because since it's on the internet, not over the airwaves, the public owns, it's not subject to content regulation. Is it, however, a moral thing to do? No, of course not. He is trying very hard to persuade many people that if they give up their liberties and they give up democracy, they will be better off. I can see how he believes that is in his interests, both commercial and psychological, but that's not selling particularly well in the United States, the UK, or Germany. And I agree with Mr. Nugent that democracies have a lot of vitality to them. You can lose a democracy. Look at Hungary and Viktor Orban. And so we need to be very careful and cautious and watchful of people like Elon Musk and the people he associates with. But we shouldn't assume that we live in a house of cards that can be blown over.
Right. Closing remarks from you, Nicholas. Your last words on, with Musk's fixation with the UK, and how are people of the country looking at it?
I think it all needs to be put in perspective. And frankly, that's how I see it. It's small. It doesn't really matter very much. Yes, he may own one of the biggest communication tools of the modern age, but it doesn't mean the people of Britain, for example, or indeed of Germany, are going to rise to the bait and follow the Musk philosophy. He's having his say, and as a great believer in free speech, why shouldn't he have his say? You're giving me my say now. I just happen to have a rather different opinion. What matters in elections is who people vote for and their trust in the individuals who are standing for election. Elon Musk is not standing for election. He's trying to be one of these sort of modern animals called an influencer. Well, I think there's a limit to how far that influence will reach, certainly beyond the United States, and I would suggest even within the United States. Let him have his say. I don't think it's going to cause any great upsets in any country, frankly.
Right. Thank you both of you for joining me.